New research shows the government could save $11 million over 15 years if it moves 1,000 people from social housing into their own home. The Housing Foundation says that's because the taxpayer would end up paying less for their healthcare, welfare and accommodation supplements. The charitable trust believes that would be a win-win for the government and the low-income families that would get homes. Edward O'Driscoll reports.
The Housing Foundation looked at 2 international studies and put them into a New Zealand perspective, as well as combining data from a South Auckland community. Melissa Atama, who lives in that community, has spent 13 years moving around rentals, but she, her partner and young family recently moved into a new home under the Affordable Rental Program, which helps families to buy their own house. She says it has drastically improved their quality of life.
So it's putting those roots down and it's very stable and my family is stable and the kids aren't as sick, as they were in the rentals we may have been in. And just that security, knowing no one's going to come along and boot you out. And the one thing it does is it enables and empowers you to do the things you really want to do with your life.
Melissa Atama says she wouldn't have been able to buy a house without access to an affordable housing scheme.
It just actually makes it happen. It's so unreachable, especially in Auckland, these days. And I just think it's the only way you're going to get people that are really hard workers who are still struggling to make ends meet actually have the opportunity to make that dream a reality and own their own homes.
The Housing Foundation's Manager of Strategy and Development, Paul Gilbert, says no research of this kind had been done before in New Zealand. He says it clearly shows helping low-income people into home ownership had broad benefits.
The research is asking, is it a good idea to move people out of welfare dependence and towards independence and perhaps home ownership? And resoundingly, the answer is yes, that is a good idea. So the cost to the state as people move along the continuum in that direction reduces significantly by millions.
Paul Gilbert says the research presents a compelling case for the government to invest more into affordable housing.
The system at the moment, the housing continuum, is broken, and where it's particularly broken in terms of allowing people to pull out of welfare dependence and move towards independence is in the affordable housing space. And unless we can unblock that blockage, we're going to see more homelessness.
Scott Figgenshow, the Chief Executive of Community Housing Aotearoa, which represents community housing providers, says this research should make policymakers act.
It really helps confirm that security of tenure is something that's essential for family well-being. So we can't see why this just doesn't prove the point, and let's crack on making both security of tenure something that is part of our rental market as well as those pathways to home ownership.
The Social Housing Minister, Amy Adams, says the research findings are too simplistic.
You have to look at all of the factors and reasons that are in social housing, and those are many and complex, and they do tend to be higher users of government services. But as I said, it's not a straight extrapolation that if we took those very people and put them into home ownership without any other intervention, it's a simple calculation.
The Minister says while the research doesn't raise anything new, it does highlight some interesting points. For Checkpoint, Edward O'Driscoll.